sure hear anyone.
There we go.
We're back.
Welcome,
Sorry about the
welcome.
technical difficulties.
Oh, that's fine. I understand. And before we get started, she may go out and come back in, but we'll keep going.
I'll keep hitting it and I'll walk around until I can find the right service. I'm totally off grid, so
Yep,
one of those
and
things.
we get goats and bunnies to watch, and
Yeah, in the background. Let me get out of the sun a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't kick you out. You get to see a lot of my nose, up my nose.
yeah, that's you always see when somebody's holding up their phone trying to find a bar so they can call for help or something. I can just
Right.
imagine trying to find a good spot to get internet.
It's funny when we're doing our lives and we have our phone in our hand and we're doing the live and we're trying to get service. I'll hold the phone up and I'll be like, okay. A couple of our viewers, they tease me and say I'm trying to do like photo bombs or something.
Oh, take selfies.
Selfies, right? Exactly.
Well, it looks like we're getting a bunch of people in here. It's good to see everybody in here today. We'll go ahead and get started, and go ahead and let us know about yourself and what your channel's about and all that fun stuff.
Well, I'm Kimmy. I'm a former city girl, now country girl. Have been living here a couple years. Left my job in the medical field and came up here to live on 73 beautiful acres here in North Idaho. I'm totally off grid, and we are building from the ground up. So it's like raw land, and we're in the process of building a barn off of lumber that was milled off of the property. It is my friend's property, and she invited me up. She's a widow. I'm a single woman, and we don't have husbands to help us, so we're doing this on our own. So
yeah, and that's the good part, that new viewers can come in and watch it from the beginning on up.
Yep. Been my mentor, so I'm learning a lot of stuff. So my channel is specifically about things that I'm learning as a country girl or city girl, learning country life, and just my journey, following my journey through this process.
Yeah, it's a big learning curve too.
It is. Did you know that don't have round tails? They have flat bunnies.
Oh, they don't have flat tails?
They don't have round tails. I thought for sure they had round tails because that's how I thought. And they don't. They have flat tails, and it's great.
Yeah. They're poofy though.
They are when they have them rolled up. It's crazy.
So what all kind of animals do you have out there?
Here we have goats. We have several goats. We have one that just had triplets, so she's our milk goat. We have ducks. We have a whole bunch of rabbits, as you can see in the pen behind me.
Yeah.
We one lone rooster. His girls went off, and he's just such a character that we've kept him around. So
just one rooster?
Just one rooster. And the ducks, and yeah, that's it. Dogs. Oh, and we are getting quail.
Oh, quail.
So we're getting a whole bunch of quail tonight or tomorrow. So
that'll be fun.
The plan is to be self-sufficient. We have a big garden, grow our own meat, grow our own food. That's the goal.
And that's the way to go right now, especially with all this stuff going on with our food and whatnot.
Right? It's terrifying.
Yep.
It really, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah. And I've been talking for the last few days about the hamburger, and I'm the fact, some of the facts that I've learned about hamburger has kind of grossed me out on, eating hamburger. So I've got to where I'm just grinding it up myself, and I'll get the meat and grind it myself because I know it's just one source.
Yep. Yep. We've been talking a lot about that on our farm to table chats. We have one coming out tomorrow. That's I don't know if you've heard about Oregon and the laws that are trying to be passed in Oregon where they can't farm, they can't process their own animals, they can't castrate their own animals. They're going to make it a
Oh,
law, and yeah, and Oregon's a huge farming community. I mean, it's that's how when I was growing up, you drive through Oregon and it's mostly farms.
yeah. I lived in Oregon when I was a kid. Uh,
Ah,
of all places, it's Phoenix, Oregon.
oh, I've never been.
Yeah, everybody thinks I'm making it up. That there's actually a place called Phoenix, Oregon.
I'm sure there. I've never heard of it, but I'm sure there
Yeah,
is.
it's a real little bitty old town. Uh, I don't I don't remember much about it except for I hating the school. But yeah, I agree. It's best to be able to grow your own food and prepare it, to make it last longer and whatnot.
Yep.
Um,
Preparing is a big, huge thing right now. So we're in
yeah,
the process of trying to do that as we're doing this build and getting, this homestead stabilized and the way we want it. So
yeah, it's that's a lot of work. It is,
it is a lot
but
of work.
you
And
you know where everything comes from, though.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
And as women, we have some limitations as far as, we're building this barn and we've been doing it without any equipment usually. We did have a friend loan us a tractor for a couple of the things last fall, but most of the time we're doing it all on our own, moving the lumber and putting things up on our own. So it's been it slows down your progress. So of course, it slows down things on the YouTube channel, and
oh
then
yeah,
people, why is it taking you so long? Well, it's really hard when it's just two women. So
yeah, and
in our 50s.
I seen the video where you guys go get feed.
Hmm.
How far it was.
Yep. That was well, and that was more of a choice. There's another feed company a little closer, but it's cheaper if you buy it by the ton there rather than by the bag. And we
Oh,
don't
okay.
have enough animals to warrant that.
Yeah,
So plus it's a beautiful drive and we have friends up there so we can meet up with them while we're in town. So
yeah. Oh yeah, I enjoyed because you get used to a certain area and it becomes bland. But once you see other places like that, it
right.
was beautiful views. And
It really
actually
is.
lived in um, Idaho too. It was a small
Oh, did you?
burg north of Boise, but I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
The only thing I
I was born.
remember about that time is sweeping a guy's gas station and his service station with a push broom. He gave me $5 a week to do it. That's the only thing I can remember about living in Idaho.
Well, we probably were there around the same time because I was born and raised in Boise.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah, that's where I'm
maybe.
from.
Oh, that's cool. And
Yep.
I used I actually did a video not too long ago. Uh, Idaho being one of the perfect states to live free, in a sense.
It, it is a great state to homestead. It's the
Yeah,
with all these rules, like in Washington, they have all these rules about you have to get permits for everything, and here it's not like that at all.
yeah, yeah. That was one of the things. Was I mean it's like I did the research and searched which state was this and which state was that, and Idaho came up
Yeah.
all the time up at top. So Idaho won the conversation on that.
Unfortunately, though, everybody's finding this out, and so now all these people are coming from out of state. We have a lot of people coming from California, so it's being taken
Oh,
over by Californians. So you go to try to buy land, and people will buy land out from underneath you because they got cash. They're coming from California. They got
yeah,
stacks of money because their property sold, and they have, their property. They get a lot more here than they had when they were in California for the cost.
yep. I went to uh, go look at some property. The majority of it was a lake that was on there, and they had a little bit on the outside, but I was all for that. It is big enough to have a couple homes there and farm and animals. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make an offer. But the only problem was there was no cell service out there at all. So by the time I
Yeah.
drove to where I could get bars on my phone, I called them up and I said, well, I want to make an offer on it. And they said, it's already sold. So
Yeah.
somebody from California bought it without even looking at it. I'm like, oh man, that's no
That,
fair.
that's what's happening. Well, we have a property right next to us that's for sale. So, just saying. We're great.
Yeah, I don't know. I still have because I wanted my son wants to go in on property. He's still in the service right now. Um, it used to be he said oh, we could go live in Oklahoma, but he was stationed in Oklahoma, and he says, "Oh hell no, it's too windy." He
Yeah.
says we have to be somewhere where it's cooler and there isn't as much wind and there's a lake by.
Yeah, we have a lakeside view. I don't know if you've seen any of the videos that show that, but we have a lake view from the front of the property. It's like it looks down on it on this ginormous lake. So it's really pretty.
Yeah,
So what branch is he in?
Army.
Army, that's the best one. I'm an Army vet.
Yeah, unfortunately he's deployed right now.
Yeah, my son just got done. He was deployed, and like he's been home for like 4 or 5 months now. So he just got out. He did 12 years, so plenty of
Oh
time.
boy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to go in for his second uh term, but
yeah.
he decided to, and I I I'm mixed about him being in the service right now.
No, I hear you. It has a lot.
Yeah,
Has changed a lot, and I think that's why my son got out. He was like, I'm done. He did 12 years. He wanted to retire out of it, but with things the way they're going, he made a wise decision, in my opinion. So,
yeah, and uh, not to bring politics up, but they were doing better with the last guy in office than this guy. Um, they actually, because his family's on the base, well, was on the base, and they, because you know how much they make,
yeah,
and they said it'll benefit your family better if you sign up for food stamps.
that is
Yeah,
insane.
and
It is,
I'm like, are you serious?
and
they're,
now
they're
with them allowing some of the other things, they're allowing people that can be in and not have to participate in certain things because of their gender, etc. So, but one,
mhm,
I guess, not get political, but yeah,
yeah. Oh, I know it's changed. Even when my son went to boot camp, he
yeah,
said because he when he was at Fort Sill, he helped others go through boot camp. You know, where you have to mark things down and their times and all that stuff, and he witnessed how it has changed since he went through boot camp.
Yeah,
You know, where
it's
you have to go in and take your mask off and the tear gas and all that. You don't
where you
have
have
to do.
hot that's coming down your knees. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have a picture of that of
yeah.
me with that.
I've got a picture of my son too, and I pick on him all the time about it.
I gotta find that. I'll have to post it up on my channel. So you guys want to laugh? Here you go. Laugh at this.
Yeah, but
So
they're not. They don't have to do this now. They can. Oh no, I don't want to do it, and they
they
go
just
around the building.
me. Here's my stress card. Yeah, it's so stupid.
Oh,
So I
and
hear.
you can't yell at them.
I
You
know
know the drill sergeants. They're not allowed to yell. Or I'm like, what
they
are you
can't.
they doing?
They can't hit their hats in your forehead like they used to.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
it's changed a
It's
lot.
true. I have an autistic son.
Hmm.
Yeah. So our niece, back when I first moved here, Kira, she was here helping us. So it was the two of us, and then Kira, who is autistic, and she is actually the daughter of another military friend. But she was here on the property for a long time, helping us do this build and such. And she was very inspirational to a lot of our viewers that have autistic children or have autism themselves. And it was really cool. She's coming back here in September. So we're super excited to have her back. She's been living in Kentucky with her dad, but she'll be back on the property here in September. So some of the upcoming videos will show her in there as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I think it because you know that they have problems with sounds and lights and things.
Phones a lot.
All their senses are heightened in some sort of way,
Right.
and I think being out to where there's no ruckus going on around probably does
Less
really
chaotic.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did wear her headphones a lot, listen to music, but had her headphones on for a lot of the times when we were building and such. And
Oh
it just
yeah.
more comfortable.
Yeah. There'll be times when we go to the store, and it's nothing against the kids or anything, but the screams from how um, kids that uh, get what they want. I'll put it that way, and scream and holler till they get it. Um, they it'll irritates him so bad that we have to leave because
Yeah,
it's just something that it's a process thing that they just can't process it like we can,
exactly.
or they're over sensory or something like that. I forget what it's called.
Exactly. That's true. So it'll be neat having her back. So
Oh,
she's big help. She's young and strong, and it's really good having that third set of hands, you know.
and you were talking about your garden. Um, what kind of stuff have you grown in your garden this year?
Well, that's more of Heather's baby. So she's been growing all sorts of really tomatoes, peppers. We got kale. We are working on berries. We were going to do an orchard, but berries, you can get stuff faster. So
Oh yeah.
starting with the berries. So we got a couple different kinds of grapes. I think now we have like 3 different kinds of grapes. We got
Oh,
red blackberries, um, blueberries. We got wild huckleberries all around, so we can go get those ourselves. But in the garden itself, we're just focusing mostly on salads and potatoes and those kinds of things. This year we weren't planning on doing a garden. The whole thing was we were going to focus on our build, focus on getting some of the things done that we need to get done. But you know how God is. He just provides for you when you least expect it. And we were having people giving us free veggies. Like, you know, here I have this plant, I have this plant, and we're like, let's stick it in the ground, stick it in the ground. And it's been awesome. It's, you know, bountiful. We're getting all sorts of things off of it. So it's such a blessing.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't expect it, but I had so many cucumbers. I put a little thing out in front of my house for people to get their free cucumbers or whatnot because I'm sick of cucumbers right now.
Yeah.
With
It tends to work that way. Like right now, it's
oh
our, they're like, they're overproducing. We have tons of peppers.
oh yeah, I've got a bunch of peppers too, and I'll probably end up just chop them up and put them in the freezer.
And these are more spicy peppers. So I like spice. My friend Heather does not. So so I'm sure I'll be giving some of them away at church, maybe trying to freeze dry some of them so that you can ground them into a powder and put them on your food, and
Yeah,
be nice.
yeah, that's when I get the sweet ones. Usually the red ones, like uh, for paprika, and then I'll actually smoke the pepper first. That way, and then I dehydrate it and then get smoked paprika.
Smoked paprika is amazing.
Oh, I love that so much better.
Yes. Yeah, it's so good.
And oh, we got a question. I probably missed a couple questions there. You freeze dry?
Not yet. We have some friends that have freeze dryers. So, of course, you know, there's a barter and trade. Hey, you know, if I give you some peppers, will you freeze dry some for me? And you can have some peppers to freeze dry for yourself.
Oh, yeah, that works. That
So,
works.
right now, we're working on, I don't know if you can see, there's our solar panel, and we have a wind turbine over there somewhere as well. And we're working on getting that all, the kinks out of it, and being 100% solar and wind turbine power. So the goal is at some point that hopefully we can then run a freeze dryer. I heard they take a lot of power, so we haven't even really tried other than entering to win occasionally.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yes, I want a chicken plucker. I was brand new from city life, had
Oh,
a whole
that
process,
is,
and
I hate doing it by hand.
and I won this chicken plucker, and I was like, I've never even, like, I, at that point in my journey, I couldn't even fathom processing an animal. But we won this chicken. I won this chicken plucker. It was pretty amazing, and it's been a benefit because I've had lots of friends that have been able to use it. So, you know, you let people use it, and it's a gift for everybody.
Yeah, I remember when I first started doing chickens. I remember doing it when with my grandpa when I was little, but I didn't remember how he did it or anything like that. And the first time I tried, there was no YouTube or anything to look up, and I rent got a book from a library, and there was pages missing. I didn't realize the pages were missing until I tried to. Well, I didn't know you duck it in the water, boiling water and stuff. I'm trying to pull them feathers out, and they're not coming out for nothing. I couldn't figure out what was going on. There's something wrong with this chicken. So after that, I decided I'm skipping that process. I'm just skinning that thing,
Yeah,
and that's what I did.
I know a lot of people do that without having a chicken plucker because it does take time. Even when you know,
Yeah,
dunk it in water, it does take time. I've just been
and the
blessed.
little feathers.
Yeah. And I've been blessed that I have, number one, a mentor to show me how to do all this stuff because she's been doing it for years. And then number two, that we had this lovely chicken plucker that was free that we could use.
Yeah,
And we processed ducks the first time with it. And they're real oily. So, you know,
yeah,
it was trying to figure out how to make that work. But it worked beautifully for both the ducks and the chickens. So
yeah. And do you get duck eggs?
we have in the past. Right now we haven't. We lost all of our female ducks to predators.
Yeah.
Um, we had only a male duck left, and we had the ravens were coming after their eggs. It was
Oh,
crazy
really?
them all the time. Yeah. So we just got two new females and a female for him. and we have not yet seen any eggs from them. So we're hoping that we will get them soon, but we know that the young one's still a little too young to produce eggs. But and one of the ducks that we got might be a little too old, so we're not sure. Ravens are taking the eggs, but we haven't seen any yet. We've only had them for, I don't know, like 3 weeks or something. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've always been told that the female ducks attract predators.
Yeah.
From their normal quacking and whatnot.
Yeah, they took ours out, and our roosters, because we had 3 roosters that we were going to process, and 2 of our roosters got taken out by an owl.
Oh yeah.
And we actually saw the owl. It was during the the end of the beginning of spring, I guess, and we actually saw the owl with the rooster. So.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, owls will take out the your chickens and stuff very, very easily.
Yeah, and at that point we didn't have any female chickens because we had given them away to people because we weren't gonna, we're like I said, focusing on the build, so we weren't planning on having chickens. And the only reason we've kept this last rooster is because he survived the owl, and he's funny, and his name is Richard Cranium, and he's very spicy. He likes to come at you, but he's also super entertaining, and we just have a lot of fun with him.
I can sit there and watch chickens. I don't know what it is, just that little pecking and scooting things around and looking for food. It's just entertaining sometimes watching them.
The baby goats are my favorite thing to watch right now because they're kind of remind me of like
too.
skateboarders. They like jump off the side of the walls. They jump straight in the air. They do all these crazy things. And Heather on the Kudzu Camp Farm to Table, she does like live stream of the bunnies, and she'll do like half-hour live stream of the bunnies, or she's gonna do some on the baby goats as well. So it's a lot of fun to just sit and watch. It's very cathartic,
Yeah, I used to have a pygmy goat, and he was more of a pet than anything. Every time I'd go outside to do work or something, he'd sneak over and start chewing the little plastic tips off my shoelaces. Every one of our shoes didn't have them plastic things on there because that something about it. He wanted to eat them little things off of there.
Goats are such characters.
Yeah.
When I got here on the property, we had gotten a couple of babies that were bottle fed, and man, we had so much fun. We were building this little tiny home for Kira, our autistic niece. We were building this little house for her, and they would be on the build with us. And the male goat, he was just so entertaining. He was always right where we were. He would pick up the pencil and run with it. I mean, and it was so funny, and we loved it. And I mean, so entertaining. But he still does it as an adult, and it's not as entertaining now. We're like, okay, you're a pain in the butt now. So
yeah, as he got older, he would sneak up on you and do his little butt, and then he'd take off running and stick around the corner like this.
Yeah. So funny.
So other than internet, what would you say the biggest disadvantage of being off grid is?
I don't know if I would call it a disadvantage. For us, water is an issue because we do not have water on the property. So we have to go and get our own water. And we actually go to a little town. It's probably about 30 minutes away, and we get water there. We get 200 gallons for $1, which isn't bad, but we have to make full trips. So we have IBC totes for the water for the animals. We have IBC totes in the garden. I think you can see them behind me. Specifically for the garden, and then we have one for the shipping container tiny home that runs our outdoor shower. So we have to always stay on top of making sure we have water, and then also we have 1,000-gallon tanks. So we try to always stay on top of having water. And the goal for us is with this barn build, we're going to do rain collection. So we can collect a lot of rain. It doesn't rain a ton here, but the couple times in the year that our big rain months, it will totally fill us up and give us plenty of water for the whole year. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah. Everybody thinks that it's everything in the northwest it's raining all the time.
right.
Yeah.
And it's so
Yeah.
dry here. We luckily don't have humidity like they do down south, which is a blessing, but it's also super dry. You walk and it's like, or drive and there's just dust billowing everywhere. So it'll be so
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, get to that point where you can have that extra water and you can spray an area down or actually plant something and water it, hopefully like ground cover, like clover or grass or that kind of stuff. So those
Yeah.
are all goals in the future.
Mm-hmm. Now you're talking about solar. Um, did you learn about solar, or did you just start just getting into it?
So I have not learned a whole lot about solar. Again, that's Heather's baby. So she's been working on doing all the solar setup and all of the research on that. And she's learned a ton. And I'm kind of learning over her shoulder as she does it. Someday I want to have my own property and be able to set things up. So this is, again, a great thing. I have a mentor that's
Yeah.
she's all the kinks. She knows she's learning all the things. And of course, we're doing it live on YouTube so everybody can see us learn. So, hopefully we can just encourage other people, that it's not a super scary thing. It's really intimidating.
Yeah.
Solar stuff, it's really intimidating for myself. And, I hope to get more proficient in it. Heather was very intimidated about it as well. And I think that it took us so long to get there, but we're there. We've gotten a couple like sponsorships for Blue Eddy and another one called U Green. So they're the solar banks, the power banks.
Yeah.
And those have been so helpful, but we have to use a generator to charge those
Charge
up.
them.
And the problem is gas gets expensive, so
Oh yeah.
solar setup has been charging it up for us. And we're having a little bit of issues with the batteries that we have currently. So that's what's holding us back right now.
Yeah.
But
So a good sponsorship for solar batteries would be nice.
it would be amazing. We do have some really good friends that have gotten some new batteries and they're gifting us their old batteries. So that'll be great because that will get us by for now. So,
Oh yeah. And that's probably the most expensive thing, because I've looked into it because of at one time my plan was converting a bus into
yeah,
to live in a bus
that would be cool.
and solar, and some of them batteries are $1,000 each.
And the wiring is expensive.
Yeah.
Good inverter. It's all of those things.
Yeah.
I would say our biggest challenge here on this property is in the winter because we get a fair amount of snow. And we have to make sure, we have water for the animals and we have water for ourselves and it doesn't freeze. So that's our challenge is
Mm-hmm.
showers during the winter is the biggest challenge.
Always going out there and breaking that ice.
We've actually had to go to the YMCA in town and shower. So we were going into town twice a week to shower.
Oh.
Yeah, because it was just you couldn't keep things warm enough. You wrap your water tanks, but still, who wants an ice cold shower? Not me.
Okay, anybody in chat, if you have any questions for our guest tonight, just at me or do it all in caps if you can. I'll try to catch it. A lot of times,
see any of the chat.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll sit there and get too into the interview and not pay attention to chat too much.
Yeah, I get that.
So what kind of projects do you guys got planned for the future that you can
So
get
right
a
now,
sneak peek into.
I would say right now our three things we're working on is the barn build. Um, that's the current big thing trying to get done before winter, at least get it dried in before winter. Our shipping container tiny home has no kitchen. We do have a wood stove and we have a regular stove, but we don't have any countertops. So we're building countertops right now. So that's our other project. And then finishing up getting the solar going. Those are the main projects right now that we're focusing on. But there's, anytime you live this lifestyle, there's 1,000 projects you've got going on. We're also working on an
Oh
outhouse
yeah.
that we haven't finished. So the outhouse doesn't have toilets in it, but it has a big hole and it has a built-in
That's
toilets.
all you need is the hole.
Right. So
uh,
that's another project we're working on.
got a question here. What has been your favorite thing about moving from the city to off grid?
I would say peace. I mean, I just feel like the city, that's KJ. Aw, bless you, girl. I love that girl. She's amazing. Um, Peaceful. I feel so much closer. I'm a Christian and I feel so much closer to God. I feel like he brought me here and I just feel at peace here. Back in the
Oh
city,
yeah.
I was in
Just the nature part of it
I was
seems like you're so much closer.
yeah. So it's just been so amazing and to learn how to live a more simple life. I mean, it's tough work. It's hard work. You're working for yourself. You're working all day long, 7 days a week. You don't
Yeah.
really get per se days off because there's always something to do, always animals to take care of, etc. But the thing is, it's a different. There's no stress about it, if that makes sense. So.
Oh yeah. And Dana B says, "What special prepping are you doing for the winter?"
Well, right now we are on the shipping container, sorry, on the sawmill. We're collecting all of the cutoffs and we wrap a pallet with wire and then we are throwing our cutoffs, cutting them up, throwing them in. So we already have firewood going, which is we're far ahead as we were last year. Last year we really did run out of firewood. In the middle of winter, we had to actually order some firewood in, and that was a bit of a challenge because we have a pretty steep grade on our hill and the firewood truck could not make it up.
Oh.
So they were offloading halfway up the hill, offloading
Oh.
around, and then we were loading it into the back of the truck to bring it up here. So, I mean, that is the main prep that we've worked on so far. But the barn is the goal because then we can actually store things. We do have things in storage that we're paying storage fees on. So having that barn built, it's kind
Oh.
of chop. And so then we can sawmill all winter long. And then we can, actually start, putting things in there that we can use. So
Yeah. And I saw a foraging video. How has that changed your opinion on stuff? You were in the medical field.
yes. So that's my good friend Heather from Cosby Cat Farms. So yes, I started doing foraging, kind of looking at the plants around me for medicinal purposes because let's say things did happen, something happened and you couldn't get prescriptions, et cetera, et cetera. You want to make sure that you can prepare and take care of people, right? So started looking around and checking out the medicinal quality of plants, and it's amazing the things that you find. I have a video out that actually I met with a herbalist and we went to a state park locally, and she showed us different things and the medicinal qualities of them. And there were specific things like mullein that took care of COVID, like totally took care of it. Um,
Yeah.
Oxeye
I
daisy,
actually used it
good. Oxeye,
during mine.
which oxeye daisies took care of the flu. There's specific plants like yarrow that if you have
Yeah.
a wound, you put that on there, it will stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
Like it's just amazing the amount of things that you're finding, and you know, you start looking at big pharma, and I have a different opinion. of what big pharma actually does.
Yep.
So
When you realize that the biggest company that uh, to kill weeds in your yard,
exactly right.
dandelions, is the same company that sells the heart medicine.
It's exactly so I'm talking about that on my channel when I was talking about dandelions. They put dandelions on the front of the thing. I was told
Yep.
as a girl, dandelions are a weed. No,
Yep.
they're food. You know, you look around us and there's all sorts of things out here we can eat. But not only that, there's also things that can take care of you so you can heal your own self.
Yep. Yep.
So,
And when I see them, the little puff balls, I go and put them in a Ziploc bag. And then in my flower bed, I have a bunch of dandelions.
yeah,
And everybody says, "Oh, why don't you ever clean them weeds up?" I said,
no,
"Those are not weeds."
they're not weeds. They're not weeds. You
Yep.
know, I walk around with a tinfoil hat all day long because, it's true. The plants around us, the First Nations people, the Native Americans, they weren't wrong. I mean, they're
Oh
in
yeah.
nature, and what they say when you're out living amongst nature. Let's say I'm dropped in the middle of nowhere. You watch what the animals do. Watch what the animals eat. Watch where they get their water, and you do the same things, and you'll be just fine.
hmm We were talking about the other day when they went out to hunt and kill a bison. There was nothing wasted. They used every little bit,
Yep.
the bones, the tendons,
That's
everything.
and my mindset has changed. So I was a city girl I did not want to see anything killed. I was
Mhm.
very close to being a vegetarian because I didn't want to put a face to any of the things I ate from the store. If people talked, my friend would talk about processing her animals, and she would say sending them off to freezer camp because I was so sensitive to it. And it took me a little while when I got here. I actually have a video right after I processed the ducks, and it was a very emotional journey. It still gets me a little emotional, but the fact is, I can do this stuff now. The other
It, it
day,
it's
okay,
still supposed to be emotional.
and this shows how far I've come. So the other day, we have a huge mouse problem here, and the other day I found some baby mice when I was cleaning out the barn, and I fed them to the ducks because they're a problem, they're an issue. The old me would have been like, "Oh no, I gotta raise those." I totally would have done that too. I would have like put them in a little shoebox in my room or what have you. But yeah,
And we got
I
a question. Do you hunt for your food?
not yet.
Not yet.
At some point, I will be doing that. Yes, I have not yet. The thing is, if you would have asked me that a year and a half ago, I would have been like, I don't know if I can ever do that. But I think, you know, right now we don't want to raise turkey, and we have a lot of turkeys that like to come and free feed. They're freeloaders, and I totally think that a turkey dinner would be really good. So someday for sure. We got 73 acres. We got deer. We got we got a cougar we got to hunt for here soon. So
Oh boy. Yeah, that's one thing that I've even had, and I'm in the city and I only have the rabbits.
yeah,
I've had people get on to me because, oh, you're eating your pets, and I like, no,
they're
they're
not
not
pets,
pets.
they're
I
food.
still love them,
Yeah.
and I thank them for what they're doing. They're feeding my family.
Yeah, you
Um,
take them and you treat them well, and they
yeah,
have the best life, and they have one bad day. And
yeah.
that's why I think quail as well, because I mean quail's a good a city animal to have because they're quiet. um you know Rabbits and quail are great to have in the city. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I really wish we could have chickens here, but the the officials here in the city sometimes they get lenient, and then they turn around and take it away. Like
yeah,
um now we're able to actually have fires out in our backyards, as in, but it has to be in a official pit,
Yep, I bet.
and it has to be nothing within so many feet, and there's all kinds of regulations about it.
Yeah.
And we can't collect rainwater. We can't have chickens. You can't have any. We can have rabbits, but we can only have 4.
Yeah. See, they want to control. The government wants
Yeah,
to. The
and
one.
that's the problem
The,
with living in a city.
exactly. Out here. So I was doing beekeeping as well. I lost my bees last winter. Everybody in this area lost their bees, and I did not get
Oh,
ones because I hadn't pre-ordered them. But that's like one of my favorite things to do out here is the beekeeping. I just absolutely love that.
now you
Can't
said
bee.
you ordered them.
No, so last year I didn't order them because I thought for sure my bees would make it through the winter because
Oh, okay.
I felt like I had protected them enough. But we had a really rough winter. I mean, we had, I don't know, probably 4 feet of snow at any given
Oh
point.
boy.
And it was a rough winter.
Yeah, I'm because I was in Job Corps in South Dakota, and I know how it snows there.
Yeah.
We would go out, and there it was 6 feet tall,
Yeah.
and I was
Canada.
always bad, so I was the one that was shoveling the sidewalks. So I remember how bad the snow winters would get.
So our snow got so high that the goats were getting out because they didn't have a fence
They climbed right over.
because the snow was up to the fence. So
Oh wow.
yeah. Yeah, so we pretty much had to lock them in the barn, and they have a little goat barn, and we pretty much had to lock them in that goat barn and say, you guys this is your home for now. So
Yeah. And they'll find little ways of getting out.
they started chewing through the walls. So they
Oh,
made a hole out of so the goat barn's made out of OSB, and they and a like a carport from Costco, and then we have OSB around the outside, and then it was tarped and everything. And they chewed through that OSB a hole like this big, and then it was this big, and then it was this big, and then it was baking. And so we were like, you cannot keep goats in. I mean, goats are.
yeah.
Oh, I forgot we have sheep too. Totally
You
forgot.
got sheep too?
Yeah, they're telling us it's time for dinner. They
Yeah,
revolt.
I never raised any sheep though. That's one thing I haven't. I figure they're pretty much close to a goat though.
They are very peaceful. They mind fences. They are easy to take care of and manage. Heather has corgis, so she herds the sheep with the corgis, which is really fun to watch. Yeah,
Eh.
I don't know if you can see them. I'll see if I can turn it. They're kind of hidden.
Oh yeah, I see him back there.
Yeah, they're like, hey, it's snack time, snack lady. Because we feed them right about 6:30 our time. It's almost 6 o'clock our time. So they're like, I think I hear you. So maybe it's snack time.
Yeah, my cats are the same way. It's when they know
Yeah.
when it's dinner time. They'll come in, and I'll be working on here or something, and I'll look over, and they're all lined up looking at me.
They're
Like,
like, hey,
hello.
forget something. Yeah. So how long out do you think it's going to be before you're able to get off grid yourself, or not off grid, but onto some sort of
I would rather be off grid.
yeah.
The rest of the family, probably they're going to be gridded. uh, Me, I would rather just go out in the woods somewhere and just be by myself, but my family's a different story.
I think it's my kids are the same way. But I think it's good to prepare and be able to be self-sufficient in case something happens. Um,
Yeah.
you know, having power isn't a bad thing. Being hooked up to the grid isn't a bad thing. but you got to have a backup plan, because if something
Oh
happens,
yeah.
you got to have a backup plan.
Yeah, just usually every summer we go without electricity, and you'd be surprised how many people you hear about complaining they lost all their food.
Yeah.
They had $400 or $500 of meat in their freezer and they lost it.
Yeah.
Why? You know this is going to happen. It happens every year.
Yep.
It could. I mean, it's gotten better to where the power companies are faster at fixing things, but what
And that's
happens that one day when it doesn't come back on for months?
And that's where having a power bank or something of that sort, like a, and I'm not, sponsoring them or anything, but like a U Green or a Blue Eddy or any of those sorts of things, it's really good to have one of those, because we just got a fridge. Like, we've not had a fridge. We have an RV that we have a little RV fridge, but those things are like minuscule. Can't keep anything in there. Um, but so we were powering the fridge off the Blue Eddy, and I mean it's a huge benefit to have something like that as a backup in case power goes off for the
Oh,
people in
oh yeah,
the city. I'm
yeah,
gonna do a little shuffle. The sun is right in my eyes. Just rotate.
yeah. And I do. That's mainly part of the channel that has been, you know, different ways of prep and uh, because even if you don't believe, bad things going to happen or anything, but there's always, Mother Nature.
Right.
Um, that stuff happens all the time,
Yep.
and
Sure does.
uh, the stuff that happened down in Texas with the freezing of everything. People freaked out so much they bring in their barbecue grills in their house to heat their house, and then they were not here no more.
Yeah. I can't say much because I lived in Florida for a couple years. My daughter had graduated from high school and we moved out to Florida so she could go to college and such. And you get the hurricanes and you lose power and all of these things. And you know, I was not prepared. I was not better prepared. You go to the store and the stores are empty of everything, water and canned foods and this and that. And I think that was one of my biggest wake up calls, was that happened, and then COVID happened. And
Yeah.
between all of those things, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I need to be better prepared because things can happen. I
Well,
read books. I know what can happen.
yeah, and that's the thing. You went around the corner, and then your eyes opened.
Yeah,
Saying, "Oh,
exactly.
I have to be prepared."
And my
There's
friend had been talking to me for years about doing this with her. And I was like, I got to wait till my kids have graduated. Uh, my son graduated, he went off to the army, but I still had a daughter at home. And until she was growing and on her own, I was like, I got to focus on my kids. But once she left, and, I was like, she's like, I want to move back to Idaho. And I'm like, I want to move back to Idaho, but you're on your own. I'm going up to North Idaho. I'm moving out to the country. So quit my job of 20 years and, got out of the medical field, which I had been doing for like 30 years. And I'm like, it's time. It is time. So I am
and
so happy and I feel so blessed to be able to do this life. And I think if anyone's out there that is living a city life and wants to do it, find a way. You can make it happen. Find a way.
yeah, I felt so sorry for um, I'll say certain medical people during the sickness and everything, because you could see that the marks on their faces and
Yep.
them working over and over again, not being able to go home to their families and stuff.
Yep.
That that was horrible.
I was in
And
the medical field when that was going down
oh,
in
and
Florida.
then the worst part after that was, after all that sacrifice they were doing during that, is when um, they were forced to get the juice.
Mm-hmm.
to
Yep.
keep their jobs. And I
Yep.
thought, is this how you reward these people for doing this?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'll share a little story, my story. So I was forced to get it, or I was going to lose my job, and I was probably 4 months shy of moving here, so I didn't want to start a new job, or try to find a new job. And again, I was in Florida, so I caved and I did it. And I was probably about, I don't know, a couple weeks before I was moving here. It was the day before my last day at the job. And I wasn't feeling well. And it was, I had a 2 hour travel, and I carpooled with people, and I was not feeling well all day. And, and I was at the office at 7 in the morning, and I didn't go home till 8 at night. And I was like, I'm going to check into the hospital and check and make sure I'm okay. And, they said that my artery was occluded so much that I would have had a widowmaker heart attack had I not
oh
checked. And
oh
I
wow.
do attribute it to that. So
Hmm.
you're seeing a lot of things happening, and that's just my personal opinion. That's,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a, I was fairly young at the time. I mean, I'm 50, just turned 50, but I've been out here for a couple of years. Um, like, who has a widowmaker heart attack at that young of an age? I mean,
Hmm.
really,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm taken care of, and I'm working on
And
things
we
to
will
revert
make
the effects.
America great again.
Thank you for subscribing. I forgot I had that thing on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Um, there, I'll, when I go over to my doctor over there, sit there and talk to the nurses and stuff, and they had to get this and that and all that stuff. And I asked them how has it protected you and stuff. Oh, it hasn't. I've had this 4 times, and I've had that, you know, and I oh
I have a
and
ridiculous story.
go ahead.
You ready to hear a ridiculous story? So the doctor that I worked for, um, his wife was the uh, what do you call her? The administrator. And so she came in one day with a mask on, and and I was like, "That's an interesting mask. That's different." And she's like, "Well, I really couldn't find any masks, so this is underwear." She was wearing underwear on her face as a mask. Is that going to protect you? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I've seen the bra. The women fold their bra up and put the straps around there. I've seen that, but I haven't seen the underwear yet.
I was like, I'm not feeling very safe that any of this is going to protect me from anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. But
So how many? Because I keep focusing on the bunnies back there. How many bunnies do you have?
well, last count, I think I counted 48.
48. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
but a couple of them had some litters. So there's some that haven't popped up yet. There's been a couple brave little ones that have popped up. But so that's not like a complete count, but that's how many we have at this time. The
Okay.
plan is for winter, we are going to have 5. We're going to have 4 girls and a boy, and they're going to be separated. They're going to have individual cages in the garden, so they'll be next to each other. But we're going to do like a deep litter method with them, and that way, that's where we're going to be planting next year. So that way, when spring
Oh,
comes and we
okay.
move them up, just go ahead and plant right there,
Yeah.
because
Eh,
they're
Great
who is the
fertilizer. Great
yep.
fertilizer.
So the rest of these guys are going to go in the freezer. Um, so we're keeping 1 male and the 4 breeder females. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So we counting up the amount of meat. I don't remember. I'm not as good at math, but Heather had counted up how much meat in the freezer that's going to be, and it's a fair amount. So we have the goat that I was talking about that I bottle fed, that he was like my pet goat. We weathered him. He's been such a pain in the backside that I'm ready to get rid of him. And so he's going to be processed. We have a lamb, a male lamb that we're going to process that's also weathered. And then we're keeping the 2 female sheep to breed, and the 3 female goats that we have to breed, and the rest are going into the freezer. So,
Yep.
and then this winter, our plan is to raise pigs as well. Last summer we raised pigs, but they go through a ton of water and they have to stay.
Oh yeah.
They're flooded anyways, and they have to have the wallows, and so we did a bunch of research, and they're totally good with winter. So we're gonna raise a couple during the winter, and we'll process in the spring.
Yeah, there's a lot of people up that area that raise their pigs during that time.
Yeah.
Just because it's so hard to keep them watered and everything.
Yeah, and they'll totally. Oh, thank you. And they'll totally. I got a good friend. She brought me a drink. But they'll totally, they'll eat the snow, so it'll be easy, a lot easier than during the summer.
Thank you, Peanut, for the $2 super chat. I appreciate it. And there's the goat.
Sorry about the airplane. We got some fires locally, so they're coming in. We got a lot of air traffic coming and going. So,
do you get a lot of smoke from? Because I know there's some in Oregon. Do you get a lot of the smoke from that?
A lot of our smoke comes from when Canada was having fires, and then we also have a lot of fires. Not a lot, but we have some fires down south, somewhat close to us, that we're getting smoke from as well.
Okay. Yeah, I know all about, because we had the smoke come down from Canada too, but it affected the Northeast a lot different than out west, and it's that humidity that actually turned the smoke into formaldehyde.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
scary.
And I went and did all this research on it and everything, and how because they said there's a high trace of formaldehyde in there, and I'm like, what? How is this a thing? And
that's
the UV and the moisture from the humidity mixes with the smoke, and it turns it into formaldehyde, and that's
terrible.
That's really dangerous.
Yeah. So have you heard what your winter is going to be where you are? I know El Nino is a thing this year, and winter is going to be harder in some areas.
Yeah.
I know centrally throughout the United States, it's going to be about the same. Northern areas are going to be warmer, and then southern areas over to the East Coast are going to be a lot harder. So I don't know if you've heard how your winter is going to be there.
Yeah. One of the things that the Farmer's Almanac. Now, I don't know if it's the way it was when my grandpa he would plant to it, and like he would know the winters and everything. He would follow the Farmer's Almanac. And they say it's going to be a bad winter this year for our area. So, and like you said, it's the South is going to get hit really hard this year.
Yeah, the South and the East Coast, as far as I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah, my grandpa, he would pull an onion up, and he would look at the onion and say, we're going to have a lot of snow, or it's going to be very cold, just by pulling an onion up. Because he could gauge the skin, how thick the skin was and stuff.
That's crazy. See, those are the things that we're losing in the
Yep.
society now. Like, you know, I wish I would have done this younger. I wish I would have. I didn't have a mom that was into that, you know, or a grandma. My great grandparents were. I just wish I would have been able to learn a little bit more from them.
I think you pretty much answered this before. Wasn't about 3 or 4 feet, you said, was your
Yeah.
big snow?
Yep.
And I think I just seen a chipmunk or something run across there.
Yep. Yep, we're getting the chipmunks and the mice are just taking over. In fact, they're our biggest problems with the garden. We occasionally have some of the, so a couple of our bunnies kind of got out a while ago and they've been reproducing. So they're not
Oh,
wild bunnies, but we have bunnies running all over the place. And we have a catch system behind me that we feed, and it's got like a hole on one end and it's a gate, not a gate, a wire fence. And so they go in the hole to get to the food that we've thrown in there. And then when we see them in there, we run up and we put something in front of the hole. And then they're like running forth. We just pick them up and we put them in with the rest of the bunnies here. And so there's been a few of them that have been getting in the garden and taking over the raspberries and the blackberries. So between them and the chipmunks, we're so frustrated with the whole garden.
yeah.
Right now.
People think them little chipmunks are all so cute and everything until you get infested with them and they chew your wires and chew every little clothing, blankets and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're cute, but they really are a pest. So we have a lot of them around here. We call them Karen. So we have one over by the sawmill that she would make quite the ruckus when we were over there. Like she would get really mad at us and she would just go off and she would not shut up. And so we just named them all Karen. We love our Karen. Don't get me wrong. On the channel, the people that comment,
Yeah.
we love our Karen.
Sometimes you feel bad for the nice people, nice women that are called that their names are Karen, because
So,
they get a bad rap sometimes.
We did Bible study the other night and we were at church and there was a lady that had come in and she had a name tag on and her name was Karen. And I was like, she seemed really nice. I bet it's hard having that name.
Yeah. What's your rooster's name?
Richard Cranium. He was renamed by one of our viewers. His original name was Flapjack because he likes to flap his arms a lot. But he's really kind of a pain. So yeah, she coined him that name and we liked it so much it stuck.
Yeah, when you're talking about how we're losing like the way always how they used to do everything and whatnot. My I wish I would have paid attention to my grandpa when I was with him, because lost so much knowledge with that man. And I remember
Right?
bits and pieces of it.
Oh no. I moved it. I messed it up.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I've lost you. No. It doesn't
No,
like
there
me
you
to
are.
move it. So myself. Sorry.
You got to find a good spot.
Yeah, that's the problem is if I move this, it totally messes things up. Hey, you want to just stand there and do this? No, I'm just kidding. She's like, I'll totally block you. That's the kind of friend I have. She'll totally. Okay.
Just hold that umbrella up right there.
I got to show you though. Hold on.
It seems like you've done this before.
Just stand there.
It seems like you've done this before.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun on our lives. We're just we're so chill. We just laugh. We laugh a lot.
Idaho, northern Idaho.
I
Idaho. Yeah.
well, I'm not a hoe, but I'm not a hoe. But that's where I live.
Yeah. What was the what is one thing that you do miss about living in a city?
If if I'm gonna be honest, pedicures.
Years.
Pedicures. I miss being able to go and have, my feet all nice and like polish on my toes because, I was really a girly girl and I am filthy all the time now. So I miss that, but pretty much that's about it. I love the country life. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of going to get to that part. If somebody offered you, say, we'll set you up in the city over here to where, rent free and everything, but you have to live in the city. Would you switch where you're at now to live in the city?
Never. Nope.
Yeah.
They pay me a whole bunch of money and I'd be like, no, I really like this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And
I've known a lot that will say the same thing. Once they get out into the city, and even though it's hard work, but when you sit down there and you see what you've accomplished and stuff, it's hard to go to reverse and go back to the city.
absolutely is. And we can see the vision here. I think one of the toughest things about this life is, especially right now in this transition phase where we're building and stuff, is you feel like you're a redneck. Like there's stuff there. There's stuff. Okay. So our storage shed that we had built collapsed because of the amount of snow. So I'm going to kind of turn you so you can see. Um, she's going to hate me for showing. That is our storage shed right there, and it has collapsed. And so all of this right
Okay.
under that silver tarp is the stuff that was in it.
Oh
So,
boy.
yeah. So, right now that's the goal with this barn shop build going up. We can then be able to put things in there. But right now, when we have people come up to the property, you're like, it's just temporarily like this. So that's the hard thing is,
It's lived
people
in.
done this lifestyle, they don't understand, I think,
Oh yeah.
is the thing. So
Yeah. But it's lived in. That's the thing. Yeah.
My
Okay.
shader.
I think somebody just let some cats in the house, in the room. Oh, there you go. I keep wanting to add you in, then it keeps kicking you back out. Okay. Now go ahead and we're at the end of the live here, so I'll go ahead and let you go ahead and let everybody know what things you got going on and things that will pull them over so they'll subscribe and check out what you guys got going on up there.
Well, I would say if you're into building or milling, go over to 'Cause We Can Farms, because that's what we're doing on that channel. If you want to know more about animals, raising animals, want to know about the things that are happening behind the scenes, we do 'Cause We Can Farm to Table. We do a chat every Saturday morning. It's a premiere, so we're in the comments and we chat with people, and we talk about real things that are happening to the food in the supermarkets right now, or things that we have heard about. So go over to that. My channel, I do a lot of foraging. So we do a lot of learning about medicinal plants. And then as I learn things or see things from a city girl's perspective, I share it. Like, Like I thought all turkeys were just big and fluffy, and they're not.
Yep.
So we are entertaining. So if you like to laugh, come on over to any of those channels, and we would greatly appreciate having you.
Yep. Next time I'll have to have both you ladies on there. I don't know who's going to hold the shade up though.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna hold the shade up either.
But go make sure you guys. I'll go ahead and drop the. Oh, where'd you go?
I'm
Okay,
still here.
that was interesting. I'll go ahead and drop the link again. Make sure you guys head over and subscribe. And like I
And
said,
if you come over country, down in my description will be Because We Can Farms and Because We Can Farm to Table. So you can click those links as well.
oh, okay. And I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. And I hope you enjoyed it. I did. And
Thank you for having.
oh yeah, definitely. That's why I said I came across your channel and I was like, oh, this is cool. I have to watch a couple more videos. And I was sitting on my TV the whole time with my remote watching your videos, and I'm like, I'll have to get on my computer and try to find you and send you an email. But
that's great. It was a surprise.
Yeah, I was glad you accepted. And like I said, thanks for coming up here, and we'll catch everybody on the next one. I got a couple more interviews lined up for next week, and like always, God bless.
God bless.